Hola, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including OKKO, Let's Be Heroes, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm your host, Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And Steve Zeck.
Hello.
You can find more about this podcast, about our previous OKKO discussions at overlyanimated.com. And wherever you listen to us, whether that be on iTunes or on your preferred podcatcher, we always appreciate any reviews and ratings you would like to leave us to help our podcast become more visible to others seeking out this kind of content. But yeah, we'll be getting into the most recently released episodes of OKKO and doing our every so often check, not really on a regular basis, but just whenever there's a batch to cover.
Yeah.
And in this case, we are going to cover today RMS and Brandon's first episode, Let's Not Be Skeletons, Action News, Perfect Meal, and Hope This Flies. It should be noted that, at least from what I'm seeing, we are still missing the Season 1 finale, and that at least two of those episodes are part of Season 2.
Ooh. Oh, what's the Season 1 finale? Do we even know what the name is?
Well,
I don't think we know yet.
Wow.
We've been spoiled, though, that no one dies in the Season 1 finale, so...
Unless it was a character that was introduced just for that episode, and then they died.
Yeah.
We'd never know.
Yeah, but no one important.
Yeah, so we're still gonna be on the lookout for that, since as introduced by at least one of these episodes, something's bound to happen, but we'll stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But in these 5 episodes, I guess we should probably treat the elephant in the room here first.
Well, first of all,
how do you feel about the Enid Red Action ship? I feel like that's a very
I knew
thing
Steve was going to get excited about that.
Oh yeah. Fun too. I love the joke about Red, though, was she stayed in her ship the entire episode, and they mentioned at the end, are you ever going to come out? Could be some... metaphor there. I don't know.
Oh, I think she's already out. I think she's out and proud, man.
Though Red did make an appearance in Let's Not Be Skeletons. I mentioned it to you, Alice, on the Discord.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, at the very beginning of Hope This Flies, Enid has a colored sticker similar to the by flag, I think.
But anyway, I can't.
Yeah, on her helmet, the little. I remember.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
it's a very strong ship episode.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm so excited to talk about KKO. I've been itching at the trigger to talk about this.
Boo. Okay. Anyway, now we've got that pun out of the way. I guess we'll talk about the actual big topic issue here. Let's Not Be Skeletons. In the past with OKKO, we've had social issues episodes already in this show. We've had the No More POW cards, which is dealing a little bit with discrimination. We had the Rad episode where he's taken to Hollywood and he's treated as a stereotype, so also making some comments on that front. And so today we are dealing with a gun control episode, which at the time when this was released, it was pretty timely, as we had just gone through a spate of school shootings very recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so... this episode, what are your guys' impressions of how it handled the issue it was tackling? Michelle, let's let you go first.
I think while it's not new for OKO as a show to tackle, important topics, I think Let's Not Be Skeletons is definitely the most kind of I don't really want to say on the nose, but you know what I mean? It's very, very clear what it's trying to do, and it lasts for the whole episode. And I think it did a really good job, in my opinion. Like there are a lot of things I made note of going through, just like, oh wow, I can't believe they talked about this. And KO's song at the end is just so good. And really speaks to current culture. So I'm kind of amazed, the timing was unfortunately pretty perfect. But it's also just like it's something that I don't know. I could imagine like getting some people giving it pushback, saying like, "Oh, like why are you talking about this in a kids show?" It's like, well, why? This is reality. This is exactly the place to talk about it.
Yeah, and that's definitely not a valid reason to complain about this,
Yeah.
because it is an issue that, especially considering school shootings,
Yeah,
right,
it
that
affects
involves
children a
children.
lot. So
Yeah, so definitely agree on that front. And I agree with the description of on the nose.
yeah,
We'll
like
get in.
it kind of is, but like in a really good way. Like I'm glad it's being so clear. I think this is one of the most clear social commentary kind of episodes, but I really like that it is, and it kind of owns that.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, your take on this?
I agree. It definitely was on the nose, and I do think it was trying to be subversive. It really went out the window when that guy said you would take this remote out of my cold skeleton hands. When that's pretty blatant. I thought though the song at the beginning reminded me of the monorail song from The Simpsons, if you remember that.
No.
Old Simpsons episode, like long ago.
Long ago.
Yeah. But I do have to have a little hot take here. I gotta wonder though, does KO have like psychic powers, future vision? Because it seemed the ending episode implied that what happened in his dream was about to happen before KO intervened and got the congresswoman to change her mind.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Psychic powers?
I'm glad that thought came out of this.
Yeah, yeah, I wasn't expecting the hot take, Steve.
Michelle, you kind of said pretty much everything I want to say. Mostly, I guess only maybe one little nitpick. Perhaps maybe it could have been a little more two-sided. Like it's all about one side of the argument. You could have maybe made, someone like Mr. Gar a little more sympathetic in this episode. And especially I saw him when he was firing all those things at Boxman. I'm like, damn.
His own little shooting range in his office.
Yeah, but Boxman's always been presented to me as he's just more of a nuisance, but I didn't know Mr. Gar hated him so much. I mean, damn.
Well, also we have to take into account this. In the end, it was all a dream. So who knows how seriously we take any of this in terms of
also
the characters.
I love the Eating in Rad scene when they decided to take off early after they turned to skeleton.
Oh,
it was like a Looney Tunes
walk.
Episode.
Yeah, that was really good.
It's like a Looney Tunes thing.
Yeah, OKKO is always under visual gag game for sure.
Yeah.
When I first watched this episode, by the end, I was just confused. Like, oh no, we went this far, which is impressive. Like, it is impressive for sure that like they managed to be this blunt with the point that they're making. But I agree with Steve that the problem is when you go this one-dimensional, that you open up the criticism of, well, you're being a bit one-dimensional about this, or you're not really presenting the nuance that one would hope for a discussion as serious as gun control.
Especially with the guy in the red shirt, you really made him like him make look bad, and maybe he might be like a stereotype of what gun people are.
Yeah, you go very heavy on the whole trigger finger aspect of that, and you try to combat it with lines like from Mr. Gar, because he's presented as sort of the responsible gun owner in this situation, like he's the one who's doing the training in his back room, and at during the whole musical sequence at the end, he says something like, I won't take responsibility for those behaving like fools. So like he's kind of presenting himself like, why should I be punished for what other people are doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like it does attempt to do that, but at the same time, like KO is presenting this as such a get rid of all guns situation that it makes it a bit hard for a viewer, in my opinion, to really take this episode as seriously as you would hope the message you're presenting should be taken.
I want to push back against that a little bit. I think KO's song does a good job of kind of addressing all that, because like Mr. Gar is not the only person giving him pushback. Like pretty much everyone in the crowd saying like, no way, like these are the reasons I don't want to do this. And then KO halfway through amends his song. He's like, okay, well, let's forget about the banning all guns, but what about rules and regulations for where and how they should be used? And he outlines like the schools and the malls and the movie theaters as places where like they could potentially be banned. So I think he was advocating more for like control of the remote situation than an outright ban, even though that might have been initially what his plan was. Like, I like that, like, his call to action shifted based on the response he got from the crowd. So I do feel like they were trying to give both sides. Clearly, like, it's stacked in one direction. But I feel like they did give space for the opposing viewpoint to have their say as well.
And that's a fair rebuttal. I think that I guess when I was watching it, like it felt a bit late in the episode to the point where the initial stance that KO was taking is the one that was left in my head after the episode, since the change in the message happened in the just like third act of the episode.
Yeah, and I think that's fair too. They're trying to do a lot in 11 minutes, and I think probably it came down to an issue of, well, where do we feel that we are on this issue, and let's make that above all clear. And then trying to juggle all the other sides kind of came later in the game, and as a result it feels little kind of uneven, but I honestly don't mind it maybe as much.
I think the problem is perhaps my lasting image, like remember the memorable part of the episode, it has to be the line about, you can take this rig for my cold skeleton hands. That's just such a standout moment that you just forget about everything else.
Yeah, and see, that just felt over the top to me.
Yeah,
I don't know, but also I do think that there are interesting things that they add here, especially in like background moments, like when he's introducing the product, the sign says no background check required.
I know, I was like, oh man, this is so real.
Yeah, so you're tackling it from that angle, and then at the very end, like when it's revealed that this is all a dream, and Chaos explaining to Carol, Carol's just like, contact your local congressman, and she winks at the camera.
I was trying to figure out the moral. I was like, I guess the moral is to contact your local congressman to try to like make change in a way you feel like you can actually account for.
At least the congressmen who aren't in the pockets of the gun lobbyists, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if we add that real life thing, it doesn't work as well, does it? But in an ideal sense, that would be the good thing to do. And I do think on a grander scale, it works as getting involved in civics, because also this is KO taking initiative to try to begin a dialogue, and that's obviously something that people should be doing in serious situations like this. And we're seeing it happen in the wake of the school shootings. The children that are affected are coming out for it. So it's definitely a great message in that regards.
And it was a topical episode. Kid shows can do that. And most kid shows, I don't remember any kid shows doing tackling guns as an issue unless it's a serialized show. Like, I guess, Young Justice or Gargoyles. I'm not saying those shows have done it, but, serious action shows, not a show like OKKO, which for the most part is a comedy show.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely tries to use comedy to kind of couch this a little bit. Like, for example, the fact that this is this our first musical episode, or have we had musicals before?
No, well, we had that in the Rad Loves Robots. He changed that one song for a hot second, but other than that, Boxman sings the song too at one point.
Yes, songs he's had. Right?
Yeah, we've had songs.
But we have what's the name of the businessman? Gil Ferris. He has an opening presentation song to the point where he pulls out a church choir to help him out.
That was so much.
Oh, and I love his assistant to the guitar player / keyboard player.
Musical guy, yeah.
How he just changes instruments just like that.
Yeah, a true silent virtuoso.
And we saw like cameo, like we did see Red was in this episode. She, Drew, and some other dude got killed, turned to skeletons by 3 Daryls. So.
Oh, good to see you're paying attention to the important characters.
Your Red Dart is very astute, Steve. I did not catch that at all.
Other important
And also
characters affected
Dendy.
by this was Dendy. Yes,
Yeah,
you read my
Dendy.
mind.
Dendy! But Dendy got turned into a skeleton, which was sad.
That's a tragedy. If you learn only against guns before you are now because they touched Dendy.
Exactly. If they touch Dendy now, you should super be against it.
No, I think the worst shooting was Carol because Carol is like we're inside the house and then like she gets shot from outside through the window, right? So you're commenting a little bit on stray bullets there, but yeah, like that one hurt the most to watch.
I think there were two things that really got me. One was when because at first the dude comes in and is like, oh, this is he like markets it as a safety precaution for civilians against villains, and then KO catches him like 30 seconds later selling them to villains also. He's like, why not make as much money as possible, right? And then KO calls him out on it, and he's like, oh, no, just like upgrade to like a 3-pronged skeleton remote is exclusive to heroes. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it solves the problem. I just like, again, it's on the nose, but I feel like it's so good and it's so relevant.
Yeah, if there's one thing here, it's that the message the episode is trying to give up, it's unignorable. No matter how you watch this, you're gonna know what it's sending here. So in that sense, it pulls it off exactly how they intended, I'm sure. Anything else here? Because this episode was kind of jam packed with like jokes and themes. There's also this final like shootout sequence that I do think is worth mentioning because
I want to talk about that too. Just like when Mr. Gar's just like, let's not do anything we'll regret, son, and KO's like, don't you think it's a little late for that? And it's like, oh snap.
Yeah, it was very good at like building up a tense atmosphere.
Yeah, it felt legitimately tense, like the way it was framed and how nervous they both looked. It was good.
Yeah. Now my question is, making it all entirely a dream at the end, which like in many shows is considered a kind of a lazy tactic. Does that affect this episode's meaning at all, or does it not matter in the end?
No, it doesn't matter because KO has future vision, so...
yeah.
That's not why I think it doesn't matter. Because I think for it to have the same amount of weight, if they had found a way to turn everyone back to normal, then the remotes wouldn't seem like a legitimate threat anymore. Yeah. So the best way to make it feel like a threat without like canonically making everyone like a skeleton in the show was to make it a dream. So I don't think it's really a cop-out. I think it's like the best thing they could have done to still hammer home that this is a serious thing that you can't take back without changing the show forever.
I do compliment, that this show did a show about guns. I mean, kid shows can do that. So I'm waiting for the Muppet Babies episode about guns. So
Muppet Babies still
show in every episode.
I thought that show ended like 20 years ago.
Everything is rebootable, Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh boy.
I'm waiting for Kermit to bust a cap. So.
Okay. Anyways,
oh man.
Now, besides the gun control episode, we did actually have one episode that's kind of plot relevant, which is Action News. I particularly enjoyed this one because I love Dynamite Watkins. She's become a fave of mine.
This has become my favorite episode of the bunch just because it was so fun, and I also love Dynamite Watkins. I didn't think about her a lot before this episode, but this episode was so good.
I loved it too. Dynamite Watkins is awesome. I mean, she's great. She's really funny and great to look at, but it seems she really cares about the importance of stuff going on in the world. At first, I thought she was more of a one-off joke character, but she really has a lot of depth, more so than we led to believe.
Right, and I think she does a good job of balancing humor and some kind of emotional weight, especially with her relationship with Cam. That's cute.
So sweet. I love Cam, and he came with her after she got sort of fired for a minute. It was great.
Should we ship them?
No, I think he looks up to her and just like wants to be a supportive friend. And I like that she highlights him in the news at the very end. She's like, "Oh yeah, big shout out to Cam." and like turns it around to show him in the frame. It was just really sweet.
Yeah, I definitely like their chemistry for sure.
Yeah.
I guess we can just skip the finale. We'll get to the middle stuff later. But the finale and this whole episode ends up being investigating what Botsman's whole deal is, like why he keeps attacking the plaza, why he has this giant factory. And so the final shot we get, which I think is is like the main meaningful part of this, is that Botsman is petting like a little robot kind of thing.
Baby. Yeah.
And the truck carried a load of oil and baby bottles. So one can only, at least my assumption is that's for the baby robot. I'm not sure why you need that much of it, but
Gonna grow into a super huge baby robot.
Yeah, goes back to a question we've asked in previous episodes.
Oh, yeah!
Do these robots grow?
Yeah. Did they age over time? It seemed like all the other ones, except for was it Jethro? I don't remember.
No,
but yeah,
we did see the baby too.
Yeah, I don't remember which one was. There was like one robot that wasn't a baby in the Latin Logic flashback. But
yeah. Steve, what are your theories for how this connects to the finale?
Oh well, I don't know. Boxman, like I said, I thought he was just more of a comedic villain, but I have a feeling though maybe him and Villainous might have like plotted something off screen in between episodes, so could be part of it. So
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Like
Boxman and his his boyfriend, pretty much.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of Professor Villainous's handiwork, or Venomous.
Venomous. Yeah, I get him confused too. Venomous or slash shadowy figure.
He is a villain.
Or slash shadowy figure, or
So can we call this little robot their baby?
Oh, I hope so.
So the robot and Finks, they have a new little.
They have like essentially a Brady Bunch situation going on then, because that is just so many kids.
And by the way, and one character we did not see in this bunch was Fink. I love Fink. I miss her too. She's like the evil Dendy, pretty much. And I'm waiting for those two to appear in the episode together.
Right. Well, I feel like the odds on Professor Venomous appearing in the finale are pretty high, especially considering that before this, the most recent Botsman important episode had them at the end forming that alliance.
Yeah.
So you would think that Venomous is going to come back, and is probably related somehow to this plan we see here in Action News.
I'm sure. Because Boxman can't get his stuff together to plan this on his own. He's too distracted easily. But Venomous could pull it off for sure with all of, Boxman's technology. So they really are like the superpower couple. I'm so excited for them to rule the world.
Yeah.
Superpower couple. I like that.
Once like this, between this and Star, I'm like waiting for the villains to win and rule the world.
Yeah, I really like the villains a lot. I like the heroes, but I really like the villains.
I guess should we say that like Enid and Rad, besides like one episode, they've been kind of lacking in this like in recent episodes. I feel like we've seen a lot less of them than I prefer.
I feel like it's kind of because we've seen a lot less of KO too, though. The show seems to be at a stride where it's just like giving room to all these side characters and showing us a glimpse into their life. So I don't really mind that, because I like having this universe feel bigger, knowing more about the people in it outside of our main three.
Yeah, this is more Adventure Time than Steven Universe.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But still, the one right episode we got was great. Still though, the lack of Enid means very little chance of seeing Elodie. So.
Well,
you're just collecting all these cool ladies you just want to see.
Oh, and I got a theory, man. I think in finale, Ellie's going to be in the finale, and she is going to be revealed to be a member of Point.
Elodie?
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, for all we know, she could have been the person Carol was talking to in that previous episode.
Oh, that's a plot thread we should get back to, hopefully.
Okay.
We're diverging all. There's a lot of directions we could go in.
I just... Elodie, man. Never has a one episode character appeared on so many subsequent podcasts.
Well, she's actually in 2 episodes. She was in the flashback, the second first date. She was there. She had a line in that episode.
She had one whole line.
Yeah,
Wow.
and she's been mentioned She's been mentioned several times. Eden's parents mentioned her, so
Yeah.
I guess it's proof though she knows about Eden's like family, her secrets, pretty much, and she never really revealed it. So
Okay, this is way too much. Anyways, well, back to Dynamite because she is the real powerful woman here, and the one that I actually want to talk about. And yeah, she has the power of shooting a truth bolt at people. I think that's new, and so we get a couple of good jokes out of that. Like, for example, shooting it at Daryl, and he reveals both that he wears cowboy boots to bed and that Shannon has human feet.
Why the heck does Shannon have human feet? Where did those feet come from? What human?
And also, if she continuously gets destroyed, does that mean that Botsman has to keep finding human feet?
Yeah, new ones each time. It's just a lot of questions for a throwaway gag. It has a lot of implications.
Or what if Shannon isn't actually a robot?
But what about like
She's
when
a
she
robot.
fell in love? That was because lightning struck her mechanical heart. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love how that's such a deep secret for her. Like
I know, yeah.
so random, but she definitely that's so Boxman like. So makes sense.
And like the actual episode story is that Big Cheese, who is the head of this TV network, is trying to stop Dynamite from reporting on Botsman and ends up firing Dynamite.
That was funny because she had to like turn in her badge and her mic. And then he's like, "The mic in your ankle holster too, please."
You know who the Big Cheese reminds me of? He reminds me of Lou Grant from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I think they were trying to reminisce this character after that.
You know, classic head honcho of a TV network. I feel like that's a cliche that exists. Yeah, but yeah, I also enjoyed that when she gets canceled, KO and Carol are watching. It's like, what? No more journalism.
We have to do something dumb, like go play outside.
Yeah. I thought you were going to use more so we got to get our news from the internet or something like.
Yeah, I mean, is this the only channel that provides hard-hitting investigative journalism in this universe?
Well, probably the same as our universe. We have very few channels that do that too.
Yeah. But yeah, so Dynamite and Cam go off on this secret mission to go get answers. It turns out that Dynamite gets her power from being watched, so because she's alone, she doesn't have enough power to get info out of Daryl and Shannon. But then somehow just the entire plaza notices that she's there. And
why that made no sense. Yeah, the whole town just comes over when she's chewing out Cheese Boss. I also just love when she finds the receipt. She's just like, Lord Boxman has bought my boss. What a scoop! And she's like so excited about it because like she doesn't care. She just like she has this dogged integrity to tell the best story possible, and that's just I think that's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, Dynamite Watkins is the journalist we all deserve.
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson to come out of this. Yeah, and anything else that stands out from this episode?
Not really. I think you covered all the good points.
Oh, we're forgetting the most iconic reference in the history of any show ever. When they referenced Pierre Escargot from all that was awesome. Oh my god, that show was like my entire childhood.
Oh, we could talk about that.
I'm so glad Crinkly Wrinkly was the Pierre of this universe.
I wasn't sure they're going for that. I thought that was a common French word.
Since I don't know there's one person who wears a raincoat and bathtub with the Eiffel Tower in the background while they.
Yeah, I think the Eiffel Tower is the giveaway here.
Pierre Escargot.
That's a very underrated treasured show.
Yeah, for real. I keep hoping they're gonna release it on like a DVD because I buy the crap out of that show.
Well, yeah,
it's so
iTunes.
Good.
You should watch iTunes except for the first season for some reason, but. Yeah, we're getting way off base here. But personally,
it was referenced.
Personally, I prefer the Key and Kill show slightly better than all that. But that's just my opinion.
Good too. But like, I don't know. The Amanda show was also pretty awesome. There were a lot of really good ones in the mid-90s.
Yeah, the original of that, not the one in 2002 through the mid-2000s. That one.
Other things that are referenced in Hope This Flies, I think they use some Jetson sound effects in Rad's house, like when he
They
goes
used
up and down
about
the
bear
elevator.
sound effects for a while, forever. They've used that. That's not new.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I get that.
at the end of the Cartoon Network logo, they use some old Hanna-Barbera references. So
Yeah. But moving over to Hope This Flies, this
Yeah.
is our Dendy episode of the Batch Guy.
Yay! We need to get that sound effect into the podcast.
The yay! Like
Yay.
the cheering of children whenever she comes on screen.
I
Didn't I
don't think
mention that? By the way, I forgot to mention the OK Dendy episode. Didn't they sort of mention that? Like, let that green kid mentioned, like, everyone was applauding?
Maybe I don't.
Maybe.
I already don't remember that episode.
I've rewatched that episode so many times. But anyway,
You're the true Dendy fan
you're
here,
true
then.
Dendy fan and Red fan and LG fan.
Yeah.
I love all the girls on the show. So
Well, I still love Watkins a lot.
Yeah.
She's pretty awesome.
And here in this episode, both Dendy and Enid shine. I would like to point out Enid just saying balls twice is pretty like it's the lowest common denominator, but I found it
so
funny.
good. It's like when people make jokes about butts. Like it's still gonna be funny no matter how old you are.
And I think because it's delivered in Enid's deadpan, it works even better.
And I love my favorite part though when Rad said to Dendy, "Quit just staring at me adorably." They acknowledge that Dendy's adorable. Like it's canon now.
Oh yeah, we all knew, but it's nice to have somebody in the show, point out the obvious.
So is Dendy into Rad?
I want to talk about that because I think this is pretty clear from this episode. She just pops out of nowhere. There was that. I mean, didn't she and KO for the KO's video channel episode? Didn't they creep on him getting ready in the morning?
Yes.
Out. Yeah, I think she legit has a thing for Rad.
And at the end, she goes as far as put her stamp on his shirt.
Yeah, this crop top claim him. I freaked out because it was amazing. This is This is not subtext. This is legitimate text now.
Yeah, and I think it's cute.
It's because we know it's not gonna go anywhere, and Rad doesn't even know it's a thing. But it's aw, Dendy has someone she admires in her own way.
Yeah.
I like it.
Otherwise, I think this episode is just okay. The most of it is revolving around Rad being stubborn, not allowing Dendy to fix the van, and Dendy fixes it anyway, and they have a race with Red Action, and Rad hijinks. I think that's the summary of this episode.
There were a couple things. Noticed.
Well, I just love how I love that Rad's dad though also has some couple funny moments too.
Red is such a teenager when his dad's around. It's like, oh, you want to use a glorb? Oh, go away, Dad. I know what I'm doing. It's I see Rad be a teenager.
And I do think the whole Rad's saying how he had to make the van himself and stuff, being stubborn. I think that's sort of a kind of making a point of stereotype of men, how sometimes male machoism or masculinity. I think they're sort of making fun of it.
That's totally possible because I feel like part of the message of the episode was that he was so hell bent on being the one to make it himself, but having other people help him out actually made it better. And him being willing to share credit for the van with Dendy seemed like a pretty big deal. He even put her name on the van, which is pretty awesome for someone like Rad who likes to just do his thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess Red didn't play much of a role here, though. I did like that she was someone who definitely at the end she was concerned for Rad and Dendy's safety as anybody else. So even though she barely knows them, so
yeah. Also at the end when they do the crash, it's Dendy who's carrying Rad out of the explosion.
She's very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, that's why I still want to see one of these days Dendy and Fink episode. Just them interact, maybe even have a little battle, and maybe become friends. I don't know because we've seen how crazy strong Fink is too. So we need those two to interact one of these days.
Yeah. And we talked about the Enid Red Action parts in the beginning of the podcast. But
I'm glad they went on a date / went to hang out. I'm glad they're still like hanging out with each other off screen.
They spent the nights together, didn't they? Because
I don't know, maybe.
Because Dendy and KO fits the van overnight, and they don't show up again until the van is fixed. So
they could have both like hung out and then gone to each other's houses and then we'd come back together. But like also they
Red doesn't have a house. I think that place is her house.
She stays in the tank.
Yeah.
Maybe
she's never coming out, she says.
Right.
So
Well, maybe after that whole incident with getting turned to a skeleton, even though it was a dream, maybe she learned her lesson.
Speaking of skeletons, we do have the RMS and Brandon's first episode to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Star episode that stars Alfonso and Ferguson.
Well, I think these characters are better than that. I actually really like Skeleton in this episode.
Yeah, I like Skeleton too.
Very relatable, especially coming from retail backgrounds.
I did think he had a funny. I love his funny line in the "Let's Not Be Skeleton." He's like, "So what? Turn to a skeleton. Big deal. Didn't change my life."
It's true.
Yeah. But I mean, he has a dream of becoming a barista. That's every
5 more cents an hour. It's such a great promotion.
I would just like to say, why is Brandon so terrible?
Okay, I have a hot take about Brandon.
Sure.
Brandon is like the Patrick Starfish of their dynamic because he's like kind of lazy. And I guess I wouldn't say Brandon's like dumb, but he doesn't have like the same ambitions as a real magic skeleton. But like Brandon's like good Patrick from the first 3 seasons who like at the end of the day when the chips are down, like he will support his friend even if like he's afraid that it will like mean they don't hang out as much. Like I'm glad Brandon came through at the end to carry him across the battlefield parking lot and get him to the coffee shop or whatever.
I got to wonder though, is this episode take concluding with a previous episode? Does the battle reference to a battle in an actual episode, or?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was notable that like all the botsman robots were there.
The business robot. What is his name?
Ernesto.
Ernesto. Yeah, even Ernesto was there.
Yeah, so I think we would remember that if there was a fight where all of them showed up at once. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I think the Patrick comp is good, especially considering that I think that has been their dynamic in previous episodes too. Like the one that comes to mind is when they had the Plaza dance or whatever, and they're fighting with each other.
With the corsages.
At the end they give each other corsages and dance with each other. So
I like their friendship. It is still clearly fraught with some, strife, but as a real friendship is, especially when you hang out with like one person a lot during the day. And you work in the same place as them. I want to comment on how their boss is literally a painting. I mean, that's like perfect for owning a framing store, but like, what kind of a boss is that?
Also, it's quite notable that the boss is like, hey, go follow your dreams. Don't be trapped like me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Find your own ambition, like, you get trapped in. I forget the line exactly, but it was really good.
Just all them hanging out. It reminds me sort of a lot of like 90s sitcoms about teenagers just chilling out, or remember the show 16? Remember a show called 16? A show that
I remember.
Reminds me of that a bit too.
I liked it. It felt like a very real thing. Like when you're bored and a teenager, like, oh, it's like somebody's gotten the new like most sour candy. Let's take a break and eat it together.
Okay,
like,
so is this actually eating something, or is this getting high in the back of the work?
Oh man. Okay, that didn't occur to me. Do you think that's what they meant? I like literally took it as face value because like sour stuff, no joke. Like
I mean, they even did the whole like my eyes getting bigger. It's
really expressive and cartoony. You really think it was?
They're passing the bowl around.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe it is. This has really changed my perspective.
But also, like, Droop in this episode, that was an addition I wasn't expecting, and that was an interesting twist.
I thought it was, like, for some reason, like, too cool for them, but, like, they are friends, it seems like. Yeah, it was a surprise.
Yeah, Droop is more of a cool character than I thought. Initially, when her introductions, I thought she was more the stereotypical, like, snobby, cool kid.
But hey, the stereotypical snobby cool kid got a job at Starbucks. So.
Yeah.
And she looks so cute as a barista with her little apron and her visor. Oh my god, she fit the part. I'm glad she got that job.
Yeah. I do actually want to highlight that there's like one line that stood out to me, like when they're doing their final fight and the skeleton wants to go to the barista. Brandon says something like, "If you go, we're not friends anymore." And then skeleton, like as the explosion's going on in the background, "If you don't let me, perhaps we never were."
And that's the thing. Like, that's Brandon. Like, his Patrick Starfish again. Like sometimes he can be a bit of a butt, but like at the end of the day, he'll come around and do what's right. And I think Brandon also has that quality. Like it took him a minute to like think about it, be like, "Oh, I should stop being dumb." But then he did, and he scooped his poor skeleton friend up after getting like destroyed by Daryl for no reason.
Yay,
like,
bones!
And, yeah, like what was up with that? It was so random.
So yeah, we have. Oh, and also I think one guy we haven't mentioned here, Mad Sam. He wants his hat framed. He's.
Okay.
He is indeed mad, but at the end he finds them with the broken hat, and he's just like, "Don't scream, just hug."
Oh, yeah. Like, smushed together.
Nice.
Maybe he knew. Maybe he like creeped on them and knew they were having this issue. And was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give them something to really like figure their lives out around. Here's this hat, solve this problem, but really, solve yourselves."
Well, this episode did change my opinions of these two characters. When I heard the episode title was going to be about them, I was cringing, but I really liked them after this episode. They are way better than Ferguson and Alonso, I say that.
Yeah, I know last episode you called this the Ronaldo episode.
Yeah.
I expect you to take your words back, please.
Yeah, please take your words back. Don't you dare put this in here, Ronaldo.
Well, Ronaldo episodes are sometimes, I find them funny, even though I don't like him. Not mean he's likable. He's a funny character to hate. I love to hate Ronaldo, so he's entertaining at least.
I hate him because I don't want him to be there, but, to each their own. I think the one thing we didn't point out so far is my favorite part of the episode, when, like, a real Magic Skeleton's having his fantasy of what he'll do with 25 extra cents an hour.
Yeah.
It take like, I don't know, was it like 2,000 years to become a millionaire? And then he's like, then I can do what I've always wanted. And he like goes and gets some meat, and then he puts money in the tip jar.
He just wants to reward other people in this retail industry.
He afford that, and that's like the purest, most millennial thing I can think of. It's so good.
Is it a millennial concept to give tips?
I love that. It totally won me over to the episode.
Yeah, agreed. Also, there was I guess there's a theme song for the Frame store. It's like "Frame Your Pictures" or something like that. They're playing it in the ending credits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was weird.
How does the song go again, Alex?
"Frame Your Picture" or something like that.
I'll have to go back. I'm intrigued now.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have one final episode to cover that we haven't touched upon, The Perfect Meal. This is KO learning where dinner comes from, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, that's such a little boy thing. I can relate with a little kid. You didn't really understand concepts like that. Dinner was there, or food. Extent of the hard work your parents had to do for you.
Yeah, I do like the little animation of like Carol explaining how she gets her ingredients, and then she's like punching up dinosaurs.
It actually makes it sound like pretty boss.
Yeah, I want to go on a shopping trip with Carol. Make that an episode.
Yeah. Carol's such a nice little son, such a nice boy. So, I just love KO, man, and Carol. There's just a perfect duo.
Yeah, Carol is nice, and she actually did make several appearances in this batch because she was also in Let's Not Be Skeletons. She had those scenes. But yeah, here KO teams up with Beardo, who is the guy at the burrito truck. I think he's been in like. Yeah, I think he was in like one or two episodes, like the earliest batch, but I don't think we've seen him in a long time. But yeah, Beardo helps him find the galaxy truffles using KO's pet dinosaur, who I had also forgotten about.
You had a dinosaur?
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing the dinosaur just like around, but yeah, it's also been a while.
Yeah, this is all both characters joining KO are like people who are like, who?
It's like we've probably only seen Logic the robot maybe twice also, so like it's not like that unheard of, but yeah, it's definitely been a while since they've been.
I wonder if this is one of the season 2 episodes I've been hearing about.
I believe it is. It's the Perfect Meal and Hope This Flies are supposed to be season 2 episodes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. But then basically the whole thing is they find the baby truffle, but it leads into the queen truffle. Beardo gives a whole lesson of, hey, the way to make food is with love, and KO makes macaroni and olives and stuff.
I like how he like judges the queen truffle. Like, oh, this like sucks. This could be so much better. Let me show you.
No, and also like him just accepting death. It's like, I lived a good life.
Like, yeah, I lived a good life. This is like an honorable way to die. Go for it.
Though this episode does seem very similar to the one when KO got try to find the perfect gift for Carol. I guess was it Valentine's gift? I forgot what it was.
Yeah. Oh, it's Mother's Day. Yeah.
Mother's Day. Yeah, it's kind of similar to that though. But this was a season 2 episode, so I guess it's okay. They didn't know when it was going to air so close together.
Oh, yeah, that was also macaroni art, right?
Yeah, there's a theme. I think it's nice every time KO tries to highlight that he appreciates the work his mom does, because domestic labor should be appreciated, and that's part of what I love about his dynamic with his mom, because he just loves his mom so much and thinks she's so cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, hopefully that doesn't change when he becomes a teenager.
As long as he's not TKO, he'll be fine.
TKO is his teenage form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also appreciate at the beginning where he's like, I don't like olives. But then he thinks to himself, oh no, I've insulted my mother.
Oh.
Because I can relate to that, because like stuff that your mom makes is like, But then later you have to think like, they took time. So yeah, that's a common kid thing to think about. But yeah, so of these 5 episodes, which ones do you think are the standouts here? Michelle?
Action News was my favorite. I think it was one of the strongest. I think the animation in particular, I felt like it really stood out and was really dynamic a lot. And that one in particular, Let's Not Be Skeletons is just like, it's really important, and I feel like it should, get a certain amount of props for talking about a thing and doing their best, and saying things that I feel like need to be said more. So I think those are my top 2, but I really liked the race between Red Action and Rad, and I swear there was like Mario Kart inspired music playing during that. I don't know, but like, I don't know. I felt like it was similar.
It's possible. The OKKO has always been creative with their musical selections, so I wouldn't put it out of the question. Steve, what would be your rankings here?
I'm torn here between Let's Not Be Skeletons and Hope It Flies. They're like my top 2. I do love Action News as well. That's a very surprisingly plotty episode. And I love Dominique Watkins. Of course, my least favorite, of course, has to be the Plaza shorts, because they're just really nothing, really.
Oh, I don't think they're nothing, but they are short. But they just can't do much.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying I'm ranking the bottom. But I guess I got to go with Hope It Flies, because it's Red's back, and it features Dendy too. So you have 2 of my favorite characters on it. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Though Let's Not Be Skeletons is excellent episode 2. That's episode I've rewatched a lot as well. And that's how I rank episodes. How often do I rewatch them? And I remember the last batch, the OK Dendy one, I watched the most of the last batch of episodes we did. And these 2 are sort of tied in terms of how much I've rewatched them.
Okay.
Well, okay.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I think Action News is the solid top episode of this batch. From there, I think it's Let's Not Be Skeletons. Like I appreciate its ambition, and I do think it has funny bits. Third, I honestly want to put the Brandon episode.
Yeah, no, I
because,
forgot
like,
to mention that one, but like I think that's honestly a very quality episode.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty solid, and like at least just for me, like it's relatable in a lot of ways. So like I just appreciate that. And then Hope This Flies is fine, and the Perfect
Just
Meal is
fine.
Is
the
all
Perfect
right.
Meal is like okay, but like probably below half for OKKO. But yeah. All in all, I think that we're still on the whole consistent quality vibe of this show.
Yeah,
And
I just thought. Yeah, I thought like all the episodes, even the worst of them, was at least okay. You know.
yeah. And actually, like, if you think about it, like, if Let's Not Be Skeletons, Action News, and RMS Brandon's first episode, if those are your final 3 episodes before a finale, then that's, like, a good ramp up.
Yeah, that is a good ramp up.
Yeah. Are there any finale predictions we want to sneak in here before we
I already made mine. I made mine about Elodie being part of Point, so...
I feel like Elodie's still in the academy, though. She's not she's a teenager. She's not that old.
Well, maybe she goes out on her own anyway. She decides to take initiative and head to where the battle is and try to do something.
Look, if Elodie appears at all, Steve is going to claim victory no matter what.
Okay, so. Yeah, this is the real truth. I feel like Boxman might be involved in the finale, and hopefully Professor Venomous also.
Yeah, and Fink.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely would like more Professor Venomous in my life. Get him back, please.
Yeah. Alex, will you just tell me why do you like Professor Venomous so much?
I mean, he's an actual dark villain here. Like Boxman, like he's doing the plan in Action News, but we all know that he's not really the mastermind here.
Yeah.
So I want to see the guy pulling the strings.
So I do think, though, Shadowy Figure is more of a darker type of villain than Venomous. So
yeah, I like Venomous more because Shadowy Figure just like he's so shadowy, you don't know anything about him.
Wow.
Like we get a sense of who he is, we get a sense of his priorities, his relationships, how he operates, his temperament. I am a huge fan of Professor Venomous.
Yeah, Venom's more relatable. He's a character who can be funny at times and stuff, you know.
And
not
like
one-dimensionally evil
times too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like I said, he's cool. I'm just saying I'd say what Alex said. He said he's such a dark villain. You want the most darkest, most one just completely evil character. Shadowy Figure probably comes the closest to that right now, but
Venomous also has like a little bit more depth to him. Like
we just haven't seen it like put into action yet.
Right.
Venomous. He's like a Zula or Lotar, and Shadowy Figure is pretty much Ozai or
Okay, that's a bit too high.
Alex can't deal with that take.
not yet. We're still in season 1. There's chance we could get there one day, but I don't think we're there yet. But maybe the finale will do something amazing, and we might catapult. Who knows? But until we get to
I'm hoping though Dendy does something awesome, like some great invention.
Can I just assume your hope is that Dendy, Elodie, Red Action, and Fink appear in the finale?
Try to team it up.
Yeah, and Enid.
Okay,
but she's a regular, so I expect her to be in the show.
Dynamite Watkins in there too, Steve. Is she part of your club, or is that just me and Alex? You just think she's amazing?
Oh, I love her too. Dynamite Watkins is like
squad is growing.
I think she's the standout character of this batch. I think.
I agree.
Stock went the highest up.
You want to sneak Droop in the finale?
No! Yeah. Droop's the cutest. She should be in there for that reason alone.
She'll be at the end of the episode where the KO and the crew are celebrating and they're in the cafe and Droop is serving them.
And they tip her.
Yeah.
Well, it's a season 1 finale, so yeah, the good guys are going to win. So
we don't know that for sure. Anything's
we do know everything seems to be okay since we got season 2 episodes that already spoiled things.
Yeah, I wouldn't count those as spoilers exactly, but
But he died.
Yeah. But until we get to that finale, whenever Cartoon Network decides to air it or release it online, you can find out all the info on our podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord if you want to talk to us about OKKO or any of the other animated shows we cover here at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can always support us financially via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Jamie, aka Mailman. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Andy, and Hugh. Other than OKKO, we recently covered Adventure Time. That's also reaching a finale, but the series finale. Star versus the Forces of Evil, we've got coverage going on. We could have Steven Universe before OKKO's. Stay tuned.
I think that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, so that's early April, so it depends where Cartoon Network wants to put OKKO.
They might put up online before then.
Yeah, or the finale of OKKO could just appear like 2 weeks from now.
Surprise! We forgot to give you this one. Here you go. Have fun.
But so we'll be looking out for that, and obviously you guys will too, and we'll be here to talk about it whenever it comes out. Right. But until then, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Okay. Adios.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.